The bush frogs, a new species discovered only a few months ago by local residents, are around here somewhere. They're leading us to the right spot, past poisonous snakes and other reptiles. The frogs were found near this tree. And there they are. They've been given the name platymantis, and they're tiny, the size of a fingernail. Bernd Markus Liss of the German International Aid Agency GIZ is thrilled. The tiny frog is another argument in favour of preserving the rainforest. The frogs have lived here undiscovered for hundreds of years, and that means there probably are more undiscovered animal species here. Liss wants to help make sure the rainforest in the Philippines survives.
When people have an interest in the forest, and that means above all an economic interest, then they'll preserve the forest and use it sustainably. What we see here in much of the Philippines is that the forest is accessible to everyone. People are forced to go to the forest to try to make a living somehow. But when they're given land use rights, and when sensible arrangements are made for the use of that land with clear rules, that helps motivate people. After all, later the forest will be theirs to use.
These residents of Sitio were assigned an area near the village. They can cultivate fruit there and are even permitted to cut down a tree or two. In return, they have to replant parts of the rainforest that have been clear-cut.
This tree, which was planted 3 years ago, is almost 3 meters tall. This will be a lovely forest again someday.
Many of the families have lived off the rainforest for generations, but meanwhile the rainforest has nearly disappeared, so local residents have been forced to learn new ways to survive.
When I was young, my parents chopped down trees, just like all the families here. That's how we survived. Later, we began planting coconut trees and sold the coconuts. We needed the money for food. Now we're trying to repair the damage by planting trees.
Selling the wood from one of the large trees could feed a family for a year. It's a real temptation, but the village residents keep close watch.
We've got a very good overview from here, and the people here pay attention and know exactly what's going on. They can also hear if anyone starts chopping with an axe or takes a chainsaw to one of the trees.
Anyone who cuts down a tree is punished by the village. The system is working. In recent months, no one has broken the village rules.
So there will be some compensation.
The work in the forest helps the people of Sitio earn a living. Elena Gallo earns some money planting trees. It's enough to make a real difference for her family. Recently, they were able to buy a small rice field. And they now have a television as well.
A lot has changed for us. Before, I was just a housewife. Now I work planting trees almost every day. With the money I earn, we've been able to renovate our house. It used to be just a wooden shack. Now we have stone walls and a new sofa and everything. And we're sending our oldest daughter to school. She graduated in 2010 and now she's at university in Tacloban, the provincial capital.
2 hours north in San Juan, Bernd Markus Liss is here to introduce the Rainforest Project. He explains that changing the way to use the forest and following the laws could bring them many advantages. But convincing the locals to change their approach to the rainforest is hard work.
We're allowed to use the forest. We pay taxes.
Liss explains that they actually need a permit, but many are driven by poverty to make illegal use of the rainforest. The people in San Juan sell coconuts they've grown. The nuts are first roasted and then sold to factories that turn them into coconut oil.
We have to do it like this, otherwise we can't sell the coconuts. We need the money we earn this way to buy food. Protecting the rainforest hasn't been a priority for us.
The illegal coconut plantations are behind the houses. Coconut trees as far as the eye can see. The locals also used to grow cassava here, but the plants were wiped out by disease caused by higher temperatures. Another casualty of climate change.
We have just one cassava plant. Before it was an entire field, but the plants all died a year ago.
Time for lunch. Like most days, it's just a simple porridge. There's not enough money to buy rice. The family may soon be able to take part in the forest protection project. Their village is applying for its own rainforest plot to be cultivated legally.